Good evening and happy St. Patrick's Day. I am going to call this meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026, and this is the regularly scheduled council meeting for the Clawson City Council. Having called the meeting to order, I will stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Those who wish to join me may do so.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we will have the words of inspiration by Pastor Bob Morrissey, right, of the Church of Clawson.
Thank you. I should have known it was St. Patrick's Day. In fact, I actually did. It's a important day for me in many ways. I had my first date with my wife 26 years ago on this day, and I'm of Irish descent, Morrissey. Two brothers came on a boat from Ireland. But on this day, as we remember St. Patrick was taken as a slave in the 5th century from his homeland and taken to Ireland. He's not Irish. He was British. And he was taken as a slave. And in his slavery, he turned to much prayer to try to survive his time as a slave. After 6 years as a slave, St. Patrick escaped and managed to make it back home. He was taken as a teenager, and as a young man, he escaped. Years later, he went back to Ireland to take the good news and hope, the message that he had found in God, back to the people that had taken him as a slave. And as I read that story, I love his heart, a heart for the people that have even did him wrong. And in a room like this, I think we've all experienced some wrong. We've all been hurt. And I pray that our room and our city can be a place of reconciliation and healing and hope and goodness. And I'd like to offer a prayer towards that end. Father, I thank you for this room. I thank you for each person here and different viewpoints, different ideas. May we remember that people are never our enemy. We can wrestle with ideas and thoughts, argue passionately, but may we love one another fully and wholly. And that's my prayer, especially for those who would call themselves Christians, that we would live up to the ideals that we preach. And God, I pray that you would just be in this meeting tonight, and I pray for everybody to be able to say what they want to say, but may it be done through decency and respect. And I pray for all of this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
All right. The next item on our agenda is roll call, please.
Mayor Moffett.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Here.
Councilmember Peltonen. Councilmember Rinkovich.
Here.
Councilmember Slawinski.
Present.
Councilmember Spisak.
Present.
And Councilmember Tinlin.
Here.
All right. Our next item is approval of the agenda.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yes.
Councilmember Peltonen.
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski.
Yes.
Councilmember Spisak.
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Yes.
And Mayor Moffett.
All right. We have approved the agenda as presented. The next item on our agenda is public comment for items on the agenda. Before we begin public comment, I would like to briefly set expectations for tonight's meetings. The council fully respects the public's right to speak and share their views. No one's freedom of speech will be limited here. We want to hear from residents and visitors. As always, when you come to the podium, please state your name and indicate whether you are a resident of the city of Clawson or a visitor to our fair city. You will be given 4 minutes to speak. Public comment is the opportunity for you to share your thoughts with council. I also want to remind everyone that under Robert's Rules of Orders, there is no back and forth dialogue during public comment. Council will listen, and comments will be addressed later in the meeting if appropriate. We recognize there may be strong feelings about certain issues tonight. That is understandable. However, the expectation is that everyone conduct themselves as an adult and in a manner so that we can have a productive meeting. And with that, I will open public comment for items on the agenda.
Good evening. I'm Julia Beatty. I'm a resident. And I am here tonight to address agenda item 9C and ask this council to take action on that. I want to begin by thanking the council members and police department who responded to the construction route concerns I raised in February. Your responsiveness meant a great deal to me and my neighbors, and I appreciate that this item is on the agenda. I am grateful that the ordinance restricting commercial truck traffic on residential streets during the freeze-thaw cycle has gone into effect. But I am asking council to ensure that North Bywood Avenue is not currently a construction route. Some of the trucks I witnessed in February were traveling by every 3 minutes, 45 miles an hour, on a residential street. It was a warm February day, unseasonably warm February day, as kids were out riding their bikes and crossing what became a dangerous, it's a two-way stop intersection. And trucks are ruining the road surface of an area with, like, we already have a pretty terrible road, in an area with also failing sewer systems that need to be addressed and can't be because of the trucks. I have been raising the issue of the sewer system to the city for 12 years. I have met with the city manager and the city engineer recently, and I have done something else. I have advocated to my neighbors to support the pass of an infrastructure bond because I believe the city is serious about fixing what is broken. In return, I was told that North Bywood Avenue would not be addressed for up to 6 years because we are now a construction route. That means if nothing changes, it will be 18 years from the time that I formally raised this issue under a very different council to when action is actually taken place. 18 years, that's the entire time I've lived here. And that's not a plan to me. The northwest corner of the city needs comprehensive drainage improvements, not just a patch on our intersection, but infrastructure throughout the corridor to stop chronic inundation that my street and my neighbors experience every single year. We need drainage throughout the northwest corner, not just in our area. During a moderate rainfall last month of about a half inch over a little over an hour, North Bywood became a lake. The bricks that were removed from the sewer in this winter were not the cause. The cause is insufficient drainage capacity, and we all know it. I helped pass the bond in good faith and speaking to my neighbors, and I asked this council to honor that faith. My requests are specific. Designate North Bywood as a permanently off limits as a construction route until our roads and our sewers are fixed. Direct staff to reevaluate Bywood and Broadacre for expedited action on drainage, separate from the 6-year timeline, given the severity and the duration of this documented failure. And please acknowledge formally that the flooding at this intersection is an ongoing infrastructure failure, causing annual property damage to the residents and posing liability to the city. I have been patient, I am cooperative, and I have been a good faith partner to the city for over a decade. I am asking the city to be a good faith partner in return. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to come to the podium to talk about items on the agenda?
My name's Bonnie Clack. I live in Clawson. And I just wanted to say, kind of like to confirm what this other lady was saying. I live on Lincoln, and they're going to start construction on a humongous apartment building or condo or whatever. And since Lincoln is the only access side street, we're going to get a lot of construction. And I'm already seeing trucks up and down the street, and I know the street's going to get wrecked. But my main concern is the speed and also the timing of the trucks, that the city can do something about setting hours of operation for these massive construction trucks and everything, so that we all, in our homes, don't get shaken out of our beds at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. So thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Sandra Bauer. I'm a visitor to your city. Actually reside in the Roseville area. I'm the founder and volunteer director of Vets Returning Home. I've had the honor and privilege of housing over 2,700 homeless veterans over the past 12 years. Some of our veterans have joined me here tonight. It has come to our attention, and unfortunately had the experience to witness the fact that one in particular doesn't seem to feel that it's imperative that we stand for the pledge. After 12 years of supporting our homeless veterans, I know maybe we all as civilians don't realize the sacrifice that our soldiers have made for our freedoms, and it's beyond the pale of anything that we can imagine. And what I find with this disrespect of not standing and honoring our Pledge of Allegiance, I find it disgusting, shameful behavior. And I understand also that those of you that, want to cancel the prayer, all I can say is that in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, I pray for your salvation, because you're going to need it. It's disgusting.
Is there anyone else who would like to come to speak to items on the agenda?
My name is Karen, and I reside in Clawson. I have a few remarks to be made about Heather, but most of it is about the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you can give me a few minutes here. I would like to exercise my First Amendment rights by saying that I, in agreement with Sandy, a lot of vets have fought and died for this country and liberties to say the pledge. Yes, it is your right not to say the pledge. However, you are on council. And as on council, you took an oath. And the oath is as follows. I do solemnly swear or affirm I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of this state, and the Charter in the City of Clawson, and I will faithfully perform the duties of council member in and for the City of Clawson, County of Oakland, State of Michigan, according to the best of my ability. My personal opinion is, if that is the oath you took, then part of taking that oath and swearing your allegiance to this country would pledge your allegiance by saying the flag. You cannot honor that oath if you don't pledge your allegiance to this country. At the last council meeting, you mentioned you were going to do better by standing on principle because you were sitting during our pledge. In the previous 5 minutes, you stood during the pledge but didn't say the words. It's your right to speak those words, as I said. However, on council, it's not your right not to speak those words. You are supposed to be a bipartisan person. Secondly, many Clawson voters, including I, did not agree with the last administration in Washington, D.C. But with respect, we stood for the flag and the Pledge of Allegiance. To me, not standing is political pouting. Since you're the liaison to our school system, please think about the example you're setting for our students. It is better to show them an example of respectfully working within the government instead of pouting. Thirdly, in response to your comment about your family being military, I also have plenty of military in my family, and my husband is a military member, and he is a disabled military veteran. I have gone to the hospitals with him in Texas and here in Michigan. I have fought for every dime of disability that man gets. So, and I have had my ex-husband, God rest his soul, my dad rest his soul, and my son-in-law, everybody I know has been in the army, in the military at some point or another. And I have seen vets that can't stand, that put their arms on wheelchairs with no legs to stand for the Star-Spangled Banner. This flag stands for those who fought and died in our country. When someone disrespects this flag, they disrespect our military. It is a slap in their face. Being a council member makes it mean more than just stand for the flag. If you can't say the words, it's time for you to step down. And you as mayor ought to say something to her, make her step down for doing that. Because it is not appropriate as a council person not to say the pledge. So, and if you can't step down, maybe we ought to get a recall petition going against both of you.
Who else would like to come to speak to items on the agenda?
Madam Mayor.
Good
Madam Mayor.
evening. My name is Jan, and
Point
I'm
of
a
order.
Clausen
Point of order.
resident.
Point of order.
Yeah,
yeah,
everybody,
excuse
please, no, there'll be no heckling. And unfortunately, if there's anyone who's having outbursts or yelling things, I am going to have to remove you. So I'm going to ask that you not yell. I will also mention that the Pledge of Allegiance is on the agenda, and that's why I'm allowing commentary for that item. So please, everyone, I don't want to have to yell at anyone or make anyone be removed. So let's all respectfully listen to everyone's opinion. We're here about everyone's right, freedom of speech. So let's let everyone say what's on their mind, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. So I echo the words that were spoken before me, and I've got to share with you, I too come from a military family. My father fought in World War II. He went in the Army at 198 pounds, 198 pounds, and came home 148 pounds. He never spoke about the war. He never told any of his children anything about it. I, again, echo the words of everybody else. It is disrespectful. This position is not about you, your feelings, your emotions. It's not a meism up there. You represent all of Clausen, not just yourself. I have to mention some other things with regards to our branch of government. It is, I can't imagine that some of you don't even know the branch of government in this city, in our nation. So someone makes a comment about ICE. Why in the world would anybody on this dais speak about ICE, and then you basically, all of you, strong-armed our police chief into issuing a proclamation? What do you want in this city? Trouble? What do you want in this city? To take away the things that make it special? Is that what you want? Is that why you're here? You are here to represent us, the residents, not yourselves. We don't care what you think. We don't care how you feel. If you don't have your job description, I can get one to the city manager, and he can get one to every single one of you. If you don't understand what your role is up here, and again, like the last person said, I highly recommend that you step down. You are unfit to serve everybody in this city, not just yourself. I don't care, we don't care how you feel. Get up, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and do what you were voted in to do by less than 30% of residents. So with that, I have one last thing to say. In Revelation 21:3, he says, I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the beginning and the end. I am the first and the last. I hope none of you ever forget that. And if you have any intentions of getting rid of prayer in this city, you will meet a match you had not anticipated. With that, I thank you for your time.
Is there anyone else? If there is anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda?
Since the pledge is on the agenda, I guess this is my moment. I was going to wait until later. I just want to say that I am also a resident of Clausen, as I know that Councilmember Rinkovich is. I don't stand for the pledge. I agree with her that she should be able to exercise her right to do so. And I do that without any disrespect to any veteran who has served whatsoever. I too have veterans in my family. If we're a place, as a prior commenter mentioned, where we want to maintain what is special about our city, then I think everybody should be able to come here the way that these people have been allowed to today, and myself, say how we feel, what we think, and represent that in front of this council and in front of the entire city. That's what I see Councilperson Rinkovich doing. I would also comment that she is incredibly prepared. She cares about this city. She does her research, and she's a good human being. And the way that I've seen her trolled online, which unfortunately the City of Clausen website did not shut down in a timely fashion, is shameful. People coming here today and quoting scripture after bullying a person online and making untoward comments toward her for exercising her right as a free citizen not to stand, if that's not what she feels is appropriate for her to do, is beyond. And I'm very certain that it's not what Jesus would do. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Charles Niffen. I am not a resident. However, I do serve as the commander of the Clawson American Legion, Post 167. I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of many veterans in our community. For those who have sworn the uniform, the Pledge of Allegiance carries deep meaning. It represents the oath we took to support and defend the Constitution and the country it stands for. When veterans stand for the pledge, it's not about politics. It's about honoring the commitment and remembering those who never made it home. We also recognize that the freedoms we fought for and defended include the freedom of expression and individual conscience. Those freedoms are part of what makes this country strong. All we ask is that the significance of the moment be understood from the perspective of those who served. For many veterans, their families standing for the Pledge of Allegiance is simply a sign of respect for the nation and the sacrifices made in its defense. Thank you for your time in supporting the veterans of Clawson.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Dixon. I've lived in this city since I've been 4 years old. And, you know, as a resident of the town, my mother was well taken care of. This is a great town. Not standing for the Pledge of Allegiance you're showing deep disrespect for our country and our flag. I'm sure you could be creative. You could stand up and not say anything, but you should stand up and respect our flag. That flag is on the moon. It's on Mount Everest. Our Olympians take that flag. That represents our country, our city, and all of the citizens, let alone our veterans. Maybe I should put it another way. Let's say you own a business and your employee talks poorly about you to all your customers. Would you want that person working at your business? I wouldn't. This is our country. You represent our country, not yourself. And your feelings aren't important while you're representing the city's business. If you can't respect that flag, how can you respect this city? How can I trust that you're going to make good decisions with my tax dollars? So I ask you, please reconsider your views on our flag. That 250 years our country's, am I to assume you're not going to go to the 250 celebration because you're what, mad at the president or whatever you're mad at? We all have issues in politics, but that flag allows you to sit in that seat. And it allows me to stand here and talk to you about it. Being a woman, also, it's marched in civil rights. There's so many things that flag stands for. And you need to do your research and take your feelings out of it.
Jamie Gills, Takanochi, Clawson resident. I just want to come up here and say that standing for the flag and saying the pledge are very different than true patriotism. There have been people that have waved that flag for reasons that are not patriotic. There are people that hide behind the flag to do social injustice, to spread hatred, and to oppress people. That's not what the flag was meant to do. And when somebody in their conscience cannot back with those words, which were not written at the founding of our country, so that pledge is not 250 years old. But when in your good conscience you say, I love my country, and therefore I want my country to be better, I want us to do better as a people, it is not disrespect. It is a deep love of the country. It's the same reason Colin Kaepernick took a knee. Because he saw people being killed in the streets for the color of their skin. He did not do it because he hated our country. He did it because he wanted the country to be a better place. And I want our city to be a better place. And I want it to be a place where people can say, I love my country deeply, but I disagree what's happening. And this is how I show that disagreement, and it does not change how I represent this city. It does not change my love for this city or this country. It does not mean disrespect for our veterans. It means we can be better to the person who is sitting. And it may not mean the same thing to you, but that person has that right to make that silent stand for the love of the country and the love of the city and the love of our vets. Because our vets are dying overseas right now in a war many people think we shouldn't be in. So sometimes that city is actually trying to say, our sons and daughters don't deserve this. They should be at home. And that has happened too much in this country. And the soldiers don't have a choice, right? I think soldiers join the military for very honorable reasons, and that they are honorable people, right? But they don't have a choice what happens once they get in. And they fight for our rights. And one of our rights is to express that we want them home, that we don't love everything our country is doing. So I thank you.
Hi, Maxine Stein, definitely a resident. And I'm not comprehending what the people on this side of the room don't seem to understand, that the right you have to stand up and pledge that to that flag gives you the right to sit and dissent to pledge to that flag. It's the same flag. It's the same right. Don't talk to you. That's what gives that council member the right to sit, stand, dance, or do whatever what she wants to do. That's the right on that flag. She doesn't take a pledge to the flag, she takes a pledge to the Constitution. In early as 1943, case of West Virginia State Board of Education versus the Supreme Court gave students the right to not have to even salute the flag. Rather than being so judgmental, why don't we try and learn about how some people civically show their discourse about things that go on in this country by not standing, by kneeling, by doing other things rather than conforming to the way standards and norms are. I can't speak for the council person, but I know that she is a good and kind person and wants reforms. She is worried about people who are who ICE may want to come and knock down their door. I know she's concerned, about people who don't fit the mold. I know that she stands for righteousness and goodness in this community. And what I don't understand is why are some people afforded certain rights, but other people are not? It doesn't take away from anybody else because she chooses to believe in righteousness a certain way. I just also want to talk just 1 minute about the religiousness going on in this city. You know, just a few days ago, some man drove his truck right into the side of my synagogue, my temple. I haven't gone there for a long time, but my son was bar mitzvahed there. And you guys want to stand up here and pretend it's a Christian nation and pretend that there isn't anti-Semitism and pretend this city is filled with loving Christian people. I have researched how many city councils do prayers. Guess what? In the radius, in our immediate radius, we are the only ones still doing it. And I'm sorry. I have asked for it to be turned into words of inspiration. I have asked for people of a different faith to be allowed to do it. I have begged and I have pleaded. And yet some woman writes on Facebook and invites every single person on the planet, come to our meeting, knowing one of them could be a nut job.
That's your time. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Moffett and members of council. I would like to address everything that's been going on that has been said earlier. Whether I think someone should sit or stand for the pledge is immaterial what I think, but what I do know is that Councilwoman Rinkovich absolutely has the right to do what she is doing, and she has the right to exercise her free speech, and she is an honorable, good public servant. I've had many conversations. I've been privileged to have many conversations with many people in this room who I think would agree that she is an honorable public servant. And this is America. And as they said in the movie, The American President, Michael Douglas, some of you might enjoy it. This is America. This is advanced citizenship, and you got to want it bad. You have to be comfortable in America. And he didn't say it exactly like this, but he said, essentially, the character, that you have to be comfortable with people completely saying things that you're going to disagree with and doing things you're going to disagree with, and it's totally legal. And that's what makes America special, is that we have people who are willing to do that. And I applaud you, Councilwoman, for your bravery and willingness to speak your truth into the work that you do, just as many folks also do. So thank you. Thank you, members of council.
Hi there, Samantha Hanser Maynard, Clausen resident. I believe that dissent is patriotic. There is nothing more American than standing up for your beliefs. It takes an incredible amount of bravery to go against the grain and do something unpopular. I commend Councilwoman Rinkovich for her strength and for so clearly expressing her point of view. Loving America like an adult means recognizing the flaws in the issues and wanting to make it better. And by sticking to her ideals, she also drew a very large crowd to council chambers. I hope the people who came here tonight to complain about ceremonial words will continue to participate in our democratic process.
Heather Harper, resident of Clausen. The Pledge of Allegiance was written by Francis Bellamy, in August 1892. First recited in schools on October 12, 1892, to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus. The original text, I pledge all to my flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 1923 or 24, the flag of the United States of America to clarify which flag was honored. So that part was added in 1923. In 1954, Congress added under God in response to the Cold War, secular communism. Congress officially recognized the pledge in 1942, which is also when they changed it to where you place your hand over your heart, because originally it had the Bellamy salute. And since that looked way too much like the Nazi salute, they made sure to change that. Quick backstory on Bellamy. He was considered a Christian socialist. He believed Jesus was a socialist. Today, he is considered an early American democratic socialist. Think Mandami or AOC. It is interesting because when you look at why he originally wrote the pledge, it was for a campaign to sell more flags, specifically to schools. Bellamy was very particular about the words he chose, and everyone should look that up. But I want to focus on the last part of the pledge, since this is where Councilwoman Rekovich took issue with: liberty and justice for all. He really wanted the historic slogan from the French Revolution, liberty, equality, and fraternity. But he said he thought it too fanciful, too many thousands of years off in realization. But we as a nation do stand square on the doctrine of liberty and justice for all. Bellamy was a firm believer in equality. Councilwoman Rekovich explained in the video she doesn't stand because she believes this isn't happening right now in our country. The Supreme Court has weighed in on this a few different occasions, and staying seated is protected speech. You may not agree with her choice, but she has not broken any laws. She has not cost this city any money by doing this. Here's what we can say: that she has broken a norm. But norms are broken every day in this country at the highest levels of government. This is just a blip in what our small community, so why did this make the Daily Caller, a national news organization started by Tucker Carlson based out of DC? Maybe they have AI and they're watching all of these videos. My guess is probably someone sent it to them just to make a point for Councilwoman. So then all of these videos would keep reappearing on our Facebook pages, and people would show up that don't even live in Clawson. Again, the Councilwoman has not cost our city any money by sitting for 30 seconds, a minute. She's not breaking any laws. It's just a norm. So why is she getting death threats? So many other things. That's a very scary situation. We've all been witness to political violence. This is scary for our small community. We do not want this here in Clawson. Respect what she did. She wants liberty and justice for all. We should all want liberty and justice for all. That is what America's about. It's not your feelings. It's what we should be striving towards. And that's what Bellamy wrote this pledge for in 1892. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda?
Nate Hira. I've lived here for 15 years or so at least. Yeah, I appreciate both sides, I guess, but it seems to me that it was pretty reckless and completely optional for you to take this action, Councilmember Rinkovich. You didn't really articulate your point very well. You just seemed to be using the flag as a political tool, and I don't understand it. You don't present a clear problem statement. You don't present a solution to the problem. You're just using your time as an elected official to cheerlead for your party's causes and disruption and division. And I think the whole nation has borne witness to the dishonor you've stained our city with. The best way to not make the national news is to not embarrass your city. Enemies of our country, of course, want us divided. They want us to be confused and misled with actors, particularly political actors, positions of influence on school boards. They want our young people to be confused and misled, not knowing what the definition of words are or meanings are. They certainly want us to stop raising children with morals and a sense of patriotism. I believe our enemies want us to forget the courageous and selfless sacrifice made by American veterans who probably could not comprehend your ungratefulness. And they want our country to turn back on God, which history has documented again and again as the surest path for any civilization to find its way to destruction. I've traveled all over the world, and I think in any communist or fascist country, your tactics would be unremarkable. But in Clawson, your efforts to normalize degeneracy are most unwelcome. I invite you, like others, to resign. I hope you can get past this. It would be wonderful for you to apologize, repent from this, and I'll be the first to forgive you. I would love to call you friend if you did. Unity is what that flag generally presents to us. Certainly we're not going to agree on everything, but when we stand as a community for the flag together, that brings us together. I don't think there is a country, a state, or a city if we don't have something to rally around together. That is not too much to ask for all of you to stand for it in respect. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Peltonen, and I am a longtime city resident. I didn't plan on saying anything, so I don't have anything written out, but I did want to stand on the side of those who are being picked on and beat down. And I stand with you in your choice to sit, and I stand with those who choose not to participate in a city-sanctioned religious practice. I don't think it's the appropriate place for such a thing. I believe that what some of the people have spoken about as far as like division and stuff, I believe that is very true. I don't think that we agree on where division is coming from, and I think that's probably one of our biggest problems. But that's, yeah, sorry. Mostly I wanted to say I'm grateful you're here. I'm sorry that such horrible things are happening. I'm sorry that people are being so threatening and violent in their language minimally. I hope that's all that it's been, and I hope that it maintains that everybody's safety is secure. I feel that our citizens are our neighbors, and I would never think that anybody in our city would wish harm on each other, but I do feel like even if you disagree with any of the statements, if you believe that she has the right to do these things, even if it's not your personal choice, I believe that we need to stand together and support each other, because this is not okay for people to be coming in and trying to, threaten. So, we should not be allowing people to threaten, and we should not be standing by while other people are being threatened and I just want this to be a safe place for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items on the agenda? Seeing no one getting up, I'm going to close public comment for items on the agenda. We will move to proclamations and presentations. Our next, and there are none, so we'll move right past that and move on to consideration of approving the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the minutes of the regular city council meeting held on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026 as presented. Transfer of the Uniform Video Services local franchise agreement with Wide Open West, aka WOW. The current franchise agreement provides for a transfer of any successor cable company. This is a notification that pertains only to a transfer of control of the franchisee. The video service remains unchanged. And a list of bills in the amount of $1,361,727.41.
Madam Mayor, I move the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Pelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yes.
All right, we have approved the consent agenda as presented. We now move to new items and new business, and the first item is consideration of to schedule a city council workshop for the purposes of hosting budget discussions between city council and city administration and department heads.
Madam Mayor, I move the City Council workshop for Tuesday, March 31st, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the City Hall Community Room for the purposes of hosting fiscal year 2026-2027 budget discussions between the City Council, administration, and department heads be approved.
Support.
Mr. Riker, you want to
ma'am.
read your little thing there?
For the last 2 years, advanced discussions were the foundation for an inclusive and smooth budget process. In consultation with staff, the administration is proposing scheduling a special meeting for Tuesday, March 31st, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the community room for the purpose of advanced budget discussions between the city council, city administration, and department heads.
So as far as discussion, 2 questions that we always get asked. Number one, that will be broadcast or
Yes.
taped, correct? And will there be public comment on that?
We will have public comment.
Awesome. Any other questions, comments?
I just maybe have one. Joe, will it be this kind of same format we have where we actually have presentations from the department heads? What's the format of the
Yeah, it'll be
workshop?
more along the lines of discussion, and there'll be material to help guide the conversation.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions, comments? Looking this way, questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke,
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton.
Yes.
All right, we have just scheduled a joint City Council, City Administration, Department Head meeting for Tuesday, March 31st, 2026 at 6 p.m. Mark your calendars. The next item on the agenda is consideration of the first reading of an ordinance to amend Clawson Code Ordinance, Chapter 34, Article 10, Section 3.1.k.2, Section 3.1.m.2, Section 4.47, Section 4.29, and Section 3.1.p.2, Section 4.39, and Section 4.42. Do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I move the first reading of an ordinance to amend Chapter 34, Article 10, Section 3.1.k to permit duplexes in the CMD district, Section 3.1.m to permit additional uses in the BRD1 district, Section 3.1.p to permit veterinary clinics in the I1 district, Section 4.29 to remove the separation standard for veterinary clinics, Section 4.39 to remove separation standards for indoor recreation uses, Section 4.42 to reduce separation standards for auto repair uses, and provide for greater screening to residential uses, and repeal Section 4.47 be approved.
Support.
All right, I believe this is Mr. Stepnick.
Correct. The motion did kind of cover the rationale for this ordinance amendment, but I'll cover it just to provide some additional context. So Section 3.1K2 is an amendment to permit duplexes in the CMD district. The CMD district is a zoning district in downtown Clawson that borders the city center. Section 3.1M2 is to permit additional uses in the BRD1 district, which includes live-work units and existing residential single-family attached. Section 3.1P is to permit veterinary clinics in the I1 district. This district already permits kennels, and these uses tend to correspond with one another, so just cleaning that up. Section 4.29 is to remove the separation standard for veterinary clinics, which is currently 100 feet from a residential district. These are special land uses, and these uses are reviewed by the Planning Commission and require a public hearing notice. The Zoning Board of Appeals has previously approved a variance for a previous non-conforming business. The separation standard was deemed not to be necessary by the Planning Commission. Section 4.39 is to remove separation standards for indoor recreation uses, which is currently 100 feet from a residential district. The same rationale applies as previous as their special land uses. And then Section 4.42 is to reduce the separation standards for auto repair uses and provide greater screening to residential uses. And that same rationale applies. And then also to repeal Section 4.47 cellular telephone towers, which is redundant to Section 4.31 wireless communications. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions?
I guess I have just more comments. I just want to thank the Planning Commission. I see the chairs here and a member. This is all the tedious stuff. It looks like it's just a cleanup of ordinance and alignments, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So I just appreciate their efforts because this is the more harder and boring stuff that they do, but it's greatly appreciated.
Yep, and I'll just tack on to that we're starting to work on the action items from the master plan, and so over the course of the next few months, we may see some more of these cleanup items, more planning-related zoning ordinance items come to you, and so the Planning Commission is going to do a lot of due diligence on what comes to council beforehand, but expect some more of these long-winded zoning ordinance amendments.
Excellent. We love the sound of your voice.
Thank you.
That was random. Any other comments, questions? Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke, I know you were on the ZBA, and there was some of the backup material we got, said there was quite a few variances relative to this that came to the ZBA, which was some of the genesis of getting some of these things cleaned up.
Yeah, I think it was one of the veterinary things, and it was very clear cut that we needed to, update our zoning ordinance. And I'd also echo Mr. Tinlin. Thank you to the Planning Commission for updating our zoning ordinance. We got to keep it, fresh, keep it up to date, and so keep up the good work on that.
Anything else? Looking that way? All right, with no other comments or questions, roll call, please.
Councilmember Slawinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak?
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Mayor Moffett?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke?
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton?
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich?
Yes.
All right, we have just passed the cleanup of all those things listed. Our next item on the agenda is item 9C. This is consideration of the first reading of an ordinance to amend the Clawson Code of Ordinance, Chapter 66, Streets, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places, Article 2, Construction, Repair, and excavations, thank you. Division 1, generally Section 6645, construction vehicles routes, to regulate construction vehicle routes within the city of Clawson, to establish condition for the use of designated routes, establish enforcement, and to prescribe penalties therein.
Madam Mayor, I move the first reading of an ordinance to amend the Clawson Code of Ordinances, Chapter 66, Streets, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places, Article 2, Construction, Repair, now I got it.
Right? It's hard.
Excavations, right? Division 1, generally Section 66-45, construction vehicle routes, to regulate construction vehicle routes within the city of Clawson, to establish conditions for the use of designated routes, establish enforcement, and to prescribe penalties therein, be approved.
Support.
Support. Mr. Riker, you want to read your
Yes,
thing
ma'am.
there?
The ordinance is intended to protect the city's road infrastructure by establishing a clear, enforceable framework governing the use of city streets by heavy construction vehicles. Under the proposed ordinance, developers and contractors would be required to obtain city engineer approval of a designated haul route prior to the commencement of any significant construction activity. Participation in a pre-construction meeting, execution of a haul route agreement, a baseline pavement condition survey, and the posting of financial assurance for road repairs would all be conditions of permit issuance. The ordinance further authorizes the city to erect route signage at the developer's expense, provides a written violation notice process, and establishes civil infraction penalties and stop work authorities for repeated noncompliance.
All right. I'm going to start off because I have a couple questions. And my first question was in section 1, in the last line, purpose and intent. It says substantial vehicle traffic within the city, and that seems so undefined. I mean,
What section were you again?
so it's right, it's section 1, purpose and intent, the last line in that paragraph. Of the ordinance, it says the purpose of this ordinance is to protect the public investment in city roadways, minimize disruption to residential neighborhoods and traffic, and provided a clear and enforceable framework for designating, using, and enforcing construction vehicle routes. This ordinance applies to all construction, demolition, land development, and similar activities generating substantial vehicle traffic within the city. And I'm concerned that, of course, substantial, and I get that this was put in place because we had a lot of people express we have a lot of big construction projects going on from the Sham site and the Kenwood site and the apartment, but like what's the threshold for substantial? And if I am, redoing my front lawn and putting in a pool in the back and getting new windows, like what's the threshold?
I can't say that there are specific threshold limits other than there's certain values that are placed in here, weight for vehicles. I believe to the city attorney, if you would like to weigh in, I believe this is more of a larger cast of big net as opposed to being very specific, so that there are ways and means to enforce any infractions, giving the administration a certain level of discretion as well.
And the other concern that was raised, and maybe there's a way to, because I get that the intention of this was for commercial construction. So can we specify commercial endeavors versus residential if I'm going to do my front lawn and get that pool and get all that other things? Like, I think we need to somehow delineate, like, I don't know anything about, you guys know more about trucks than I do. Like, if I were to have, like,
You're saying the scalability as like a one construction as opposed to an entire site.
yeah, I mean, like, if we could,
Which we currently have right now. We do have single-family dwelling units that are being.
Which is fair, but also, and I'll get you in 1 second, is like if I'm doing some major renovation on my house, I might have to come and, like, might be in violation of this. And so how do we, like, keep the intent of addressing the residents' concerns about all that traffic and still let individual things go on? Nick, you might have some wonderful magic to opine on this and clear it all up.
I sure hope so, but I would agree. I think the ordinance is a little bit too wordy for what we're trying to do here. But I couldn't exactly locate where you were talking from the ordinance. But in Section 3, applicability, subsection A, it says a building permit for new construction, addition, or substantial renovation with an estimated construction value exceeding $100,000. And so I think generally the ordinance the language might conflict a little bit here and there, so I think that's the intent. So if you have a large-scale development like where we have at Shalom or Baker, or there is some type of multifamily or commercial building that is off one of our major roads, then they would apply. But with the way it's written, if there's a new single-family home being built, or if someone's doing a large renovation, they would technically apply for this. And I'm not sure that's the direction, based on some feedback so far, council wants to go. And I think it's just has a lot of words for some something minor that we could enact.
Also, I haven't done any, well, I have a crappy house. We talked about this before. Inside joke from a long time ago. Anyhow, but $100,000 seems really low for, like, if I'm raising the roof and putting another, it's going to be more than $100,000 for a residential thing. So.
I would probably agree with you.
Okay. So are you suggesting that we really like the intent, but maybe it should be skinnied down a little bit? Is that what you're kind of?
That's my rationale, but council is the one that's going to make that determination.
No, I appreciate. Yes, Mr. Riker.
I think if we continue to go through the rest of it and dissect it, then we can give this feedback back to the city attorney and take another stab at it for a first reading.
Cool. All right, I'll be quiet and let other people speak. Let's go down this way. Councilmember Tinlin.
Okay, you touched on a few topics, and we got a few comments from the public on this, and I'm not sure if you guys were forwarded all those comments. So I think you're talking about the residential value exemption of the size of the project, also the limited trip rule, how many trips, again, triggering for the residents. And I'll send these notes to you directly. Liability protections, could the ordinance clarify the liability for route compliance with the permit holder or a contractor rather than the homeowner? And then just cost transparency, right? The city engineer uses discretionary authority under Section 3C. What is the anticipated out-of-pocket cost for residents? And just standardized discretion. I think that's more practices. So I'll send these 4 or 5 bullet points because I think they're valid. And maybe look how we can maybe wordsmith that, the ordinance a little bit tighter. Again, I think just residential impact was a concern. They get it that we want to control the construction traffic for all these huge projects, but maybe we were writing too much into the ordinance that could impact the residents. That's what I got.
All right, Councilmember Spishak.
Yeah, I would echo Councilmember Tinlin. The other section was in Section 8, the joint and I think several liability. I was talking about a third-party driver and subcontractors. I just wanted to get more clarification on that because if I have a contractor out doing something and they create damage, normally they have insurance liability that covers that. The wording in there made it sound like me or another resident, who was doing that would be held responsible to fix that if it was damaged. So just a little more clarification on that would be great.
Okay. Councilmember Slawinski.
I think all those are really good ideas, and I look forward just to seeing the next reading.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that stood out to me, there's under Section 3 applicability at the bottom, it says the city manager may waive the requirements of this ordinance for minor projects where construction vehicles use is minimal. I guess it's a little vague. It leaves it very much open to interpretation of what minimal would be, so I don't know what the intent of putting that in there was. Other than that, it looks decent. Yeah, I'd like to see it back, though.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yeah, I think in terms of my notes, everyone's hit everything. So
okay,
I like going last.
Oh, no, we had Councilmember Peltonen.
Well, for a lot of the same things, I like that we're trying to address this. I am still really concerned that it's going to be like, now they're just allowed to go down our road and wreck it. But no, I think it needs to be cleaned up a little bit. And while we're doing that, I noticed at least just one place where it assumes the city manager is male. And so we can just change up the language and not have his.
Oh, good call.
Over.
Them
Just in
instead of
case.
his. Right. We never know. And your comments made me think of one other thing that we want to include, and that was a member, something made during public comment about the timing. Should there be some parameters of operation? Is it in there? Did I miss it? Should there be some parameters of operations included to not be too disruptive to the community? Go ahead, did I miss it?
It should have been there, but if not, our general ordinance requires construction after 7 a.m. And so that would still apply here. But if we want to have it in there, I think it would just give some more teeth. But I don't think it needs to be. It's covered elsewhere in the ordinance.
7 a.m. till when?
I believe it's 11 p.m.
Really?
Now that
address
could be
that
the
ordinance.
noise ordinance ringing a bell. Sorry, I get that question a lot, so the noise ordinance tends to stick in my head. I would have to double check what it is. I bet 7 a.m. is the start time, and then
Some specific end time.
Yes.
And 7 days a week.
and
right?
it may depend on days too, because Sunday may have a different time, and the weekends may. But it's 7 a.m. is the start time, but we'll get that clarified in the next edition of this.
11 p.m. is the noise ordinance.
11 p.m.
Yeah.
So,
So I think
half
it's
right.
I think it's different.
Yeah, it's different.
Okay. All right, so we'll get more information on that. So we do have a motion on the table, but it sounds like we kind of want to send this back to be tweaked. So we still need to do a vote. So the motion was to move it forward. So if we don't intend to do that, consider that as you vote, right?
Or you can withdraw your
Or
motion.
you can withdraw the motion. Who made it? Probably Councilmember Tinlin.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to remove,
Just withdraw your.
withdraw my motion.
Excellent.
We'll bring it back.
All right, cool. All right, thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda is item 9D, consideration of a special event recovery sharing bridge agreement for 2026. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we have a discussion about the cost recovery bridge agreement for 2026.
Support.
So I think all of us were pretty surprised to see this item on the agenda because when we met last week, we all were pretty unified in our comments that we were not looking for a cost recovery on Clausenfest this year. And so, and I was going to make a motion, and you said, nope, let's not do that. And so was really surprised to see this on the agenda because it's really, from my opinion, seemed to be a disregard for everything that we said. To open discussion, I can see you're waiting to say something, Councilmember Tinlin, so I'm going to turn it to you.
Well, I'll keep it shorter, right? Yeah, so I went back and actually looked at the videos. I thought we kind of put a pin in this for right now. And really the dialogue was going around having, I believe, the council and the administration develop a policy and procedures for this, right? Because I've been doing research already about municipalities and the costs that give back by these different events. And roughly 70 to 80% of the municipalities in Oakland County have some type of cost policy. Royal Oak, for example, charges nonprofits and profits 100%. Troy has a little bit different. So I was hoping to take this conversation, even as the workshop for an initiative, and develop a true written policy and practices for the city, and then really applying them for next year so we don't catch anybody off guards. Because I'm very financially responsible. I'd love to have transparency so everyone knows exactly how much this costs us for these events, so we can just have the voters involved. But right now, it's very hard. I've seen different numbers floating around with different emails. So I think there's more work in progress for this policy and practices.
Councilmember Spishak?
Yeah, I would echo Councilmember Tinlin. I think that we need to take a step back and look towards the future. I would agree. I mean, there's different levels of different events throughout the city. And I was, I personally, I thought that we were going to have the discussion to make that motion to move forward with, what we had in play. So
Someone can make that motion at any time.
make that motion. Go.
Councilmember,
Get everybody to talk.
Councilmember Slawinski.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we move there be no cost recovery for the Clausenfest for the 2006 calendar year.
Second.
2026.
2026.
Second.
Second. So she's stealing all the light from you. We have a motion on the table, so I'm going to look this time to my right for discussion of that motion. Do you have anything you want to say, Councilmember Peltonen?
No, I do not.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
I'm just going to echo that I think the intent was just to provide certainty for, I think, everyone, including Clausenfest for 2026, and then echoing Councilmember Tinlin that we would get things lined up for 2027. I'm all for that as well, having a plan going forward for 2027. So that's it.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke?
Yeah, this seemed rushed, I would say. And I don't think it's fair to, use one event as, kind of the guinea pig to figure this out, which is why I support, let's do this the right way, take our time, get input from more people than just city admin, and create a policy that's right, that does take the Clawson taxpayer very much into consideration, but also supports our events that we love dearly. So, yeah.
Going back this way, any other comments on the motion on the floor? Go ahead.
Do we want to amend the motion to put
I made a
together-
motion just to discuss. So
Okay.
she made a motion that we're going to just say we're not doing any cost recovery for Clawson Fest for 2026. That's the motion on the floor right now.
Correct, yeah. I just wanted to see if we wanted to add anything to put together a subcommittee to work on future.
It's not a bad idea. Why don't we go through this one and then maybe vote on it, and then maybe someone else would like to make a motion to do.
I say we go ahead and vote.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
do that.
Councilman,
In a former
Mr.
life.
Riker.
Former life, I would suggest consider amending your motion and say events for this either calendar year or fiscal year, because you do have one event that's going on today that did agree to cost recovery if there was one.
So hers was specific for Clawson Fest, is what her motion was. We can do, and if they've agreed to it and there's no consternation over that, I don't see any reason to pull that back.
It's not very equitable.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Is today's events a co-sponsored event?
No,
Or
it is not a
not?
co-sponsored
Okay.
event. And it is a smaller event for particular, and I think that's the difference. It is a event for a specific business versus a citywide event that has historically benefited a plethora of businesses.
Thank you.
Point of order.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So there's a motion on the table. Councilmember Tinlin.
Well, and we're being very specific about the Clawson Fest, but we have future events coming forward in 2026. Do we want to amend that motion to talk about those as well? Because we're only talking about specific Clawson Fest. Just there's other events coming that could have that as well.
Councilmember Slawinski, do you want to amend your motion?
I do not.
Okay, all right. Let's take a vote on that motion, and then we can have all kinds of other motions. We can just talk all night. It'll be great. Roll call, please.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke,
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin.
No.
Okay, so we have just approved that we will not seek cost recovery from Clawson Fest for 2026. Councilmember Spishak, would you like to make another motion?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to include all future events for 2026.
So you want to make a motion that we not seek cost recovery
Correct.
for,
The
putting words in your mouth, but
That's fine. To not seek cost
that issue's
recovery.
done, so I don't want to say include.
Correct.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
to seek cost recovery for the rest of events in 2026, and to put together a workshop or a subcommittee for us to be able to work on rules for the future.
Support.
Can you clarify your motion as to whether or not, because Mr. Riker just mentioned that there was an event that had agreed to cost recovery. Are you intending to now dissolve that? Or are you, everybody except for the ones that have agreed to do so?
Just, if I can explain that, they expressed that, hey, if there's cost recovery, we'll be okay with it. It wasn't like there was an exchange where we said, hey, there's cost recovery now, and they said, okay, yeah, fine. They were amicable, like, hey, if you guys saddle us with the cost recovery later on, not an issue. I think you have to be as equitable as possible to dodge any potential legal landmines, and I would just do it for all of your events then.
All of 2026?
Yes.
Yep.
If that's
I would
your
agree.
intention?
That's my motion.
That's your motion?
Yep.
And
I still support.
support it? Is there any discussion this way?
Well, I'm happier now. Just we're putting a
That's our
pin in it. And just for, since we're, public record, cost recovery, I get it. Did this originally start with the former council or for my legal counsel? Is it in the right of the administration to determine the policy, or is that a joint activity, council and administration? I know there's a few questions in there, Joe.
Usually the execution of this, and I see the city attorney is motioning as well. This is largely an administrative function. However, it's getting a lot of attention. So I think there could be a happy medium, but I defer to the city attorney.
Yeah, council has the right to set policy and ordinances as they see fit.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Having none, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke,
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilmember Spisak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett.
No. And then there's one more item. So we have just directed the administration to not impose any cost recovery on any events in 2026. One more item that Mr. Councilmember Spisak was suggesting that or Councilmember Tinlin, there was another item in regard to direction for going forward. Does someone want to make a motion to that end?
I'll try. Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we create a subcommittee or include this in our workshop of initiatives for the council.
Included in his motion. Wasn't it in your motion?
I thought it was.
I had it in your motion.
Was it in your motion, the subcommittee?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, then we're done.
Then I'm.
All right. Sorry,
Withdrawal.
I missed that.
Okay.
I apologize.
No worries.
All right. So that, I think, concludes item 90. And we will move on to unfinished business, which is item 10A. And this is to have a discussion in regard to proposed council rules and procedures. Do I have a motion?
Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we have a discussion on consideration of the proposed council rules and procedures.
Support.
All right. And I'm going to start this off as well, because once again, I was quite confused by the inclusion of a revision to ordinance 2-63. Again, I believe that at the last council meeting, we were all very adamant that we did not want to make any changes to this ordinance. Mr. Riker?
If I can read my rationalization, I explain it right in there.
I don't think that's necessary. I think we're going to just go ahead with the conversation because,
It explains very clearly why that's left in there. It's where the whole nexus of this comes from. And it's contextual information for transparency.
I think the council gave clear directions to the administration of what we wanted done. And,
It's in there.
pardon?
And it's there. I just provided all the information that got us there.
Well, I was very dismayed to see this again because this item had been put to rest. We were clear in the last meeting that we were going to focus solely on the rules and procedures.
And you are. Take a look at it says rules and procedures. All the other documents are supporting documents that got us to where we are today.
So I feel it's necessary to make our intent clear, to make the motion that we suggested making last time, but we were told we didn't need to. So I'm going to go ahead and make the motion that we do not in any way, shape, or form modify the existing ordinance 2-63.
And you're not. It's just.
Do I have support of that?
I support.
Okay. All right. So I just want to make it clear because when you present that other ordinance, it gets people riled up about the issue that we've put to bed, and that's my concern. So Councilmember Tinlin, do you have any discussion?
I always have a discussion, so.
We love you.
I went back and looked at it again, and maybe what our problem is, we're very clear, we just want to work on our governance documents, right, and just leave the ordinance as it is. And Joe, maybe, because we see the agenda coming from you right away, and there's a lot of documents. Is there any way we can mark these documents reference only, or whatever it may be? Because I'm a document guy, so I got a little confused a little bit as well, because I saw the ordinance back in there. Can we mark those up? So I was very happy with the red line stuff, right, which we're going to talk about. But can we mark these documents that are just giving us context as a reference document only? And that'll help with the public understanding as well. Is that allowed?
I don't think it's an issue, but I mean, they're all reference documents. And if you looked at, this item was built off of the last agenda item under a new item, and this is now an old item, and the attachment list is exactly the list from the previous with the addition of the red line, which was missing the last time.
Yes.
But the issue with it was, we had put to bed the discussion of this ordinance. We took it off the table, is pretty clearly what our direction was last time. And so to see.
It's off the table.
To see it again in the packet, okay, I'm just telling you, and you obviously
And
see.
I'm telling you, that's where it
obviously,
comes from.
Mr. Riker, you obviously see it differently.
I do.
But I am, that's why I feel it's important that we codify our intent with a motion and discussion that this ordinance not be changed. Councilmember Slawinski.
Okay, so I have a question. When we talked about the meeting minutes, beginning of the meeting, we made a motion that we accepted them all. And I did have a question regarding the CM 0307026 from last meeting. It was a motion that we made, and it stated, after considerable discussion regarding the proposed draft ordinance to amend section 2.63, the council proposed no action on this ordinance amendment at this time. Is that, I want clarification just to make sure, was that passed or did that fail?
Was what passed?
Was that motion passed or did it fail?
The motion was for discussion. There was no motion for that. So the discussion was to take no action at this time, and that's what's noted in the minutes. There wasn't a motion to approve. You were discussing.
Okay,
That's
so there
all.
was no motion, but the reason there wasn't a motion because we decided not to take any action.
That's how I heard
Okay,
it.
so when I saw, and maybe this is what I'm trying to figure out, when I saw a draft amendment to the City of Clawson Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 2, Section 2.63, I was kind of wondering why the attorney spent time to do that.
That was in the packet from the previous, and that draft is part of your policy and procedure. And I think that the way I understood it was explained that your ordinance is not reflective of what you're doing in your policy.
Okay, so when I looked at that.
So that remains still a point of
Okay, because when I
interest
looked
because it
at
needs
it,
to be
I
fixed.
thought, why are we looking at this? We decided not to do anything with it.
So if we go to the ordinance for our direction. The ordinance is not how you are doing it. So I think that's
Okay.
what
So I
our city
would-
attorney tried to make clear last time when he was explaining it. So we left that ordinance in there because that is still an issue that needs to be addressed.
But you're not addressing it in this item.
Not right now.
No.
It's just there because it is something that, this is how your rules and policies are being corrected to how you want the agenda to be. And if we go to
So
the
we can
ordinance.
correct, if we can
it's
correct
not
it
there.
to do differently then in the new rules and procedures.
We could, so what he had said, what the city attorney said last time was this ordinance has not been followed for decades. And there's been, and I made the joke, we are gonna, give the city attorney a ticket for not, or the city manager for a ticket for not following the ordinance. And he said, we don't need to worry about that because we're going to address the situation with our rules and procedures. And that is why I expected just the rules and procedures to be on the agenda for discussion tonight. And so So, I get your intention. We're going to go ahead with the conversations from council, and then we'll take a vote and put this to bed.
And I will have my piece too, by charter.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
It seems like we're all saying the same thing, but kind of differently. Because if this was an ordinance updated, there'd be first reading, second reading. It's
Right.
obviously not on there. So, so sorry, one sec. I get what I get what you were doing. You're putting it on here to see where we started and where we got. It confused me to see it on there, but I'm clear now. We're not updating it, so I'm good.
Okay. Councilmember Rinkovich. Councilmember Peltonen.
So I was thinking about the ordinance matching our order of business. And I have been following this since when it's really unfortunate that Rennis isn't here today, because when he brought this to the previous council in 2020, it's like what we kind of want. And then we have this other one that he brought to us that is not what we want. We flat out said this is what we don't want. We don't want to codify having words of inspiration and then have how we're going to do words of inspiration when we haven't even. It's nonsense. And we've been saying over and over again, don't put it in here, because it's easier for us to do it than to have it in here. And then now we're going against the ordinance if we decide we're not going to do words of inspiration. So my suggestion is that we could take the ordinance and say that the council be taken up for consideration and disposition to include, but not be limited to, the following. And then that is how we have our ordinance, so we're not going against. I mean, it's very frustrating because we keep saying we don't want to have this permanent words of inspiration on here. We're still in the process of figuring it out. And there are so many things that people in Clawson want to talk about, and this is not one of them. And it's been on our agenda 3 weeks in a row, and it is just infuriating.
And I think to that end, Councilmember Peltonen, to answer your question, I will get to you in a moment, that that is why, to your point, if the packet had just the existing ordinance that we were happy with and not the draft, I wouldn't have been taken aback. But seeing the draft of the ordinance that we clearly were not interested in putting in place is what I think I took issue with. Mr. Riker.
Your enabling legislation is the ordinance, and both versions are there. It's not on the agenda. It's simply a attachment that was provided from the previous meetings. Your action is simply on your rules and procedures. That is specifically it.
And I just explained that I think the thing that concerned me and threw me off so much was not only the inclusion of this draft ordinance that we never authored, blessed, considered something that we wanted to be voted on, put in place. This was, to have that included is what I had issues with. So I think we've all said our piece. We all understand. We have a motion on the floor. Can I have a roll call, please?
What is your motion?
The motion is that we leave ordinance 2.63 intact as it is written.
Hold it. Just for your awareness, that's not even. There's not a need to even touch that. It's not going to change it. You just leave it in place and do nothing.
Mr. Riker, I wanted to make a motion about Clawson Fest last time, and you said, no, we shouldn't do that. And then we came back today with something totally against the council's wishes. I feel the need to codify our intent.
Sure, go ahead.
Because our intent keeps getting just disregarded. So roll call, please.
Roll the tape, too.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rinkovich?
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski?
Yes.
Councilmember Spishak?
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Mayor Moffett?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke?
Yes.
All right, we have just
Councilmember
codified.
Pelton?
Yes.
Sorry,
One more.
assume. Lose track. We just codified our intent to leave ordinance 2-63 in place as it stands. Our next item is to discuss the redlined version of the rules and procedures document. Does someone, we have a motion for discussion on the table so we can discuss it, or if someone wants to make a motion to do something else. I'm going to start with Councilmember Peltonen. We're talking about the rules and procedures document. Do you have a discussion of that? Do you have anything you want to share, questions, concerns? You love it as it is. What's your thought?
No, I don't want to go first.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
Yeah, I don't have any notes right now.
Okay.
Talking about
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
I'm good with it, the marked up version here, so I would support a motion to adopt or something like that.
Okay. Councilmember Slawinski.
Sorry, but I have a lot of things that I have questions on.
Right.
Please bear with me. The first thing is, on the very first paragraph, it says, "This document shall be reviewed every 2 years following a regular city election." So I'm looking at, if we just had a regular city election last year.
There's one in 2 years, too.
Yeah, so the last adoption of this was 2020, which was.
So technically, it was never adopted.
Okay, but that was 6 years ago. So my first question is, what is going to be the process of making sure that it's followed in the future? Like, do we have to put it on our calendar?
It's incumbent upon the mayor to bring this like I did. It's incumbent upon the mayor to make sure that this happens every cycle.
Okay. Thank you. We'll go to page 4, under presiding officer. Oh, I'm sorry, 5, minutes of the city council meeting. So I would like to see something in there on the minutes of the council meeting in regards to looking for errors before the meetings come to us in the packet. Is that something that we can add?
I don't think that there's a rule and procedure. That's a common courtesy to reach out to the administration when we get the packet notice that or have a question, that we reach out to the city clerk prior to the meeting. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think professionalism, there's an assistant city clerk now, right? So my question is, do they also look at this? Or is it still going to be upon the council?
It's always incumbent upon the council. We're the ones that approve it and finalize it. So it's always incumbent upon us to read it and approve it because we vote on it.
Okay, I understand that. I'm just talking about errors like names or words or, okay. In number 6, we're talking about the words of inspiration. There was 4 minutes in there. I remember when we spoke about this before, we talked about 2. I would like to see 2, not 4.
We give 4 to the public, so I think that's why we're staying consistent with 4 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Number 3 on page 7, persons addressing the council. My question is, for city of residents, do we want to say city of resident, or are they just, do we want them to state what city they're from, or are we just asking if they're a resident of the city?
I think, so city, because I usually say if you're a resident of Clawson or a visitor to this fair city, I mean, 6 of one, half and it does the other. I mean, I think the intention is to identify who lives here and who's a visitor. So, I mean, I think that we accomplish the same thing by saying if you're a visitor or not. I mean, I wouldn't want to, tie our hands to make them say what city they're from, because it goes back to the whole.
Well, that's what it says. It says city of residence. It doesn't say if you are a resident of the city.
Right, but.
So do you live in Clawson? Do you live in Clawson, or?
We also don't ask if appropriate group affiliation. I mean.
Okay, so you want them to state their city of resident. So if they're not from Clawson, you want them to say, I'm from Troy.
No,
I do.
I think that.
Because that's how it is.
Yeah. So if I ask you to say if you live in Clawson or not, that's still asking what's your city of residence.
Okay, is it a moot point to even?
No, are we allowed to talk, or do we wait until?
I mean, do you have something to say about that particular
Yeah,
issue?
because I was just going to say that I think that's a great point, and I think it would be very helpful to know if you are bussed in from somewhere far away, or
we
if
do
you're a
ask,
next door
yeah, we
neighbor.
ask-
No, because if you're like, say that somebody is from Troy, they might have an interest in our police department. Like there are like somebody from Berkeley, somebody like when you're neighbors. I think that I just agree that I think it would make a big difference if you're close by, or if you're from California and just coming to talk about something else.
What if we were to just simply request that you state your residence? That way, they have the option.
So, do you want to insert, request in front of city, request city of residence?
Yeah.
That's fine. We can, so if we.
The reason that I just want to be clear is because these are our rules and procedures.
Right.
So I just didn't want it to be hanging out there, which one you want to do.
So to that end, I would say let's take off your appropriate your group affiliation, because we've never done that.
Okay, I mean, like it was appropriate for them to tell us what affiliation they were up at the mic and they were talking.
Well, we're not asking that.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I think we're maybe spend a little more time on this. First of all, with everyone that spoke tonight, you'll notice some didn't give names and some didn't give residents.
I did notice they didn't give names, to be honest.
When you invite them up, you do state to say that. If they choose not to, then it will be what it is. So I don't think that it's really broken right now. I think that right now, I think it's a good idea to if you have affiliates, an organization in, why not let them say where they're from?
That's true. We're leaving it open for people saying it, and we're not codifying that you can't say it or codifying that you have to say it.
I mean,
It's
it doesn't
just
void out what they said because they didn't say it.
Yeah.
So, we do the best in the minutes to say, and tonight we'll probably have to because some did not give that.
I didn't even notice that some people didn't say their name.
You're going to.
Yeah, there were a couple.
So you're going to get their comment that they spoke about something. So it probably is generally going to say a resident spoke regarding X, Y, Z.
Like they say in Pirates of the Caribbean, right? These are more guidelines than
Okay,
rules,
well,
right?
I just wanted to bring it up because I wanted to be sure we were on the same page.
Right.
On the bottom of page 7, the city attorney, we talked about it last meeting. We were going to take cable TV out.
It's struck out.
It's not in the header, though. It says cable TV, video, and audio recording. So I think
So if we can just delete that,
yeah,
that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay, and then on the last page, page 10, going through the process for becoming, after we had member orientation, new council, I would add access to the MMO membership information. If you want to do that or not, it's just in addition to just getting the information, but also to make sure that we have that the new person has access.
It says right there. Oh.
It says MML membership information, but it doesn't say access.
I think that's implied by giving you the information, membership information.
So did everybody get information on the MML and access?
I think you sent that out, right?
I'm not sure what you mean by access.
Means, so once you pay for the membership, once the city pays for the membership for the new council person, we're supposed to get access to the website. And I'll ask, did everybody get access to the website? Did we even know that they paid for access for us, for the membership?
I'm pretty sure that our MML is,
'Cause I get all their emails
all-inclusive.
and everything,
And I
yeah.
do know that you're all listed in there as council members and.
No, my question isn't that we're in there. My question is, when you're this is the procedures for a new council member in orientation. The procedure is the new council person should know that they have the information and access
Well,
to get in and.
I would say the access is the MML site. So the website is available to everyone. That, what they have out there, the resources are already there. The only thing that we as administration have in the access would be to sign you up for classes and do the administration portion. But if you open MML up on your web browser, you should see access to what they offer.
So I think that's covered with the league membership information. I think it's covered under that. But I think more specifically, and you might want to talk to the clerk about it afterwards, you had issues getting into the
Well,
MML.
there were other council members who told me that they didn't even know they had access. So I was just thinking if we added it in there, maybe the next time we had any.
I'll tell you what, let me.
Orientation.
Councilor Slawinski, let me check with the MML and see if there is some access that I'm not aware of that you're talking about. I am not aware of any council member ever having a username password to get into MML.
So her point
that's what I'm not sure.
The administration can't give that.
I will check with them to see if there is something that you can have. Maybe there is a login and password for that.
Yeah, there is, because once you get in, you have training
Well, that would be
available
through
to
MML
us.
then.
Right,
Then you would
yeah.
have to get that through them. But let me check and find out what that process is.
I think all she's saying,
Perfect. Okay.
she can't grant that access.
I'm not asking her to grant the access. I'm just trying to get it added to the member orientation for the rules and procedures.
And I think that falls under membership information.
Okay.
All right, so we do have the amendment to take the cable TV off. I don't know, did I go down? Did you get a chance to, Councilmember Tinlin, did you have any?
It was just me.
No, I've only got one, though. I agree with
There you go.
everything else. So just, my notes didn't show this. It's on page 1, and it's really around the workshop. And I saw that there shall be no public comment at workshop meetings when the wording used to be unless the mayor and council so chooses.
No,
I
it's
didn't-
redlined.
Yeah, so I didn't see it in my notes. I must have missed that conversation. Is that the intent?
It's
Right.
redlined. It says there shall be
I'm sorry.
public comment at workshop meetings. The no is redlined.
Okay, I saw they struck that out. Okay. Then I'm good with all of it.
Okay, so I'm going to make the motion that we finalize and approve the rules and procedures as amended for item number 8.
Support.
Number 8,
The-
10A.
It was just the cable thing. Yeah. All right, any other, are we
I'm
tired
sorry,
of
who
this?
supported?
All right. Did you have some? Oh,
No.
Oh.
They're asking who supported.
okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Slawinski,
Yes.
Councilor Spishak,
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin,
Yes.
Mayor Moffett,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke,
Yes.
Councilmember Pelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
All right, we have just finalized and approved our rules and procedures, and thank you everyone who participated in this. This was a big endeavor. This is really the first time something like this has been put in place because it was not adopted before, but I think it's a crucial foundation for how we're going to run our meetings. So thank you everyone who participated in this, read it, provided feedback. We appreciate that. Now, we are moving on to public comment for items not on the agenda. And I'm going to once again say, before we begin public comments, I want to once again set expectations for the meeting. The council fully respects everyone's right to speak and share their views. No one's freedom of speech will be limited here. We want to hear from residents and visitors. As always, when you come to the podium, please state your name and whether you're a resident or a visitor, and any affiliations. Public comment is an opportunity for you to share your thoughts with council. You will be granted 4 minutes to speak. I also want to remind everyone that Robert's Rules of Order are in play here. There's no back and forth dialogue during public comment. Council will listen and comments will be addressed later in the meeting if appropriate. We recognize there's very strong feelings about certain issues tonight, and that's understandable. However, we expect everyone to conduct themselves as adults and remain in decorum so that we can have a productive meeting. And with that, I will open public comment for items not on the agenda.
Nate Hara, resident of Clawson. I just want to voice my sadness at how little respect you gave your duties as fiduciaries of our taxpayer money in sourcing this Clawson Fest forgiveness of their fair share of paying the expenditures of that event, for-profit event. It's widely known that Sean Nassery runs that and that he was an incredible supporter for you politically. He ran the most visceral campaign of propaganda against your competitors, and this is obviously a quid pro quo. It's not your money to just divert to him because he did you a favor. It is money that was entrusted to you to spend wisely, and I don't know what will happen now, but you went so far out of your way to list Clawson Fest by name, no other organization. It's such a betrayal, and please think carefully about how you will ask the residents in the future to support bonds you propose or any other spending. I've not heard any of you question one bill in the packet, but you are unbelievably passionate about making sure Sean Nassery doesn't have to pay for the burden he imposes on the city for this event. I'm speechless.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda?
To bring, I'm sorry, Joe, and I'm a visitor. And to bring something positive to all this, I would tell you that I work part-time at Temple Israel, and I was there the night before the gentleman drove his truck through the building, and I have told my employers and the Jewish people that I work for at Franklin Hills Country Club that I have no understanding of why people hate the Jewish population. They are charitable, they are giving, they are kind, and they are probably the most family-oriented people that I've ever met. And I think it's a shame, and I think people that feel hate Jewish people should look upon themselves and fix themselves. I think it's envy, and I think it's wrong.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda?
Well, my name is Maxine Stein. I live in Clawson, and I had no intention of getting up here again. But because of what that gentleman just said, first of all, Sean does more for this city than just about anybody else that I've come in contact with. That's number one. And number two, I don't know how he dares speak about that, knowing what the city manager is, the sweet deal he got on his contract. That's number one. Number two, knowing that the city attorney is not working with the current contract. He wasn't working with the current contract. Everybody on this, well, 3 people were smart enough not to vote to allow that for that to happen. With no oversight, somehow we got conned into not letting other people come in and check what's going on with our city attorney. Oh my God, I am just shaking at what that gentleman just said. there are so many other reasons why our taxpayer dollars are being used erroneously, and I place that right at the hands of the city attorney and the ex-mayor. So I've done my piece. I am like on fire right now.
Anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda?
Hi, Jamie Gills, Takanochi. Sorry, Classen resident. I'd also like to address Classen Fest. It was not directly on the agenda, so I feel this is the appropriate place to do that. I would like to point out that the previous council also did a cost waiver for Classen Fest, and I believe the reason for that is that it's co-sponsored by the DDA, that they spend $12,000 to promote Classen Fest and Classen as a destination, which is more than our DDA spends on promoting and advertising for our city. Right there, they give back. On top of that, they gave back last year, and every year this number has risen, over $7,000 to charitable organizations and to individuals in this community, to our schools. The schools were able to raise an additional $4,000 from items they donated. So I think you have to look at the whole picture when you look at whether or not we should charge them, because they are giving back way more than they are taking. They do not take an appropriate salary for what they do, right? They barely pay themselves. Most of this is a gift of love. And it's not just that they have good intentions. They have positive impact on this city with how many people come in, how many businesses are positively affected, and the way they give back. So I thank the council for recognizing that it's not just this or that you have to look at the whole picture. I just also want to speak a little bit. Someone came up and said, calling sitting for the pledge something you could do that you couldn't do in a communist country, right? Thank God that we have the right to do things they are not allowed to do in communist countries. I have also traveled the world, and I can tell you that two of the perpetrators of the most horrific things in World War II do not pledge a flag or sing the Pledge of Allegiance, right? Or sing the national anthem at regular events, because they see it, Germany and Japan, and I have spent 8 years in Japan and several times to Germany, because they see it as indoctrination that those administrations that did those horrible things to the world and to other people, and they see it as indoctrination for that. They never want that rise of nationalism again, because nothing good came of it. So I think it's important to realize that when we travel the world, what other countries do you see with flags on every door? What other country do you see where children have to stand up and say the pledge? I don't know about them all, but I can tell you Germany and Japan don't do it because of the atrocities their governments perpetuated during World War II. I also want to say that the vitriol that we've heard in this chamber, last week somebody actually called for tar and feathering the council. This violence comes out to our streets. It's not acceptable.
Thank you.
Heather Harper, resident of Clawson, and I will be discussing the sewers.
So I just want to give everyone I meant to send an email to the council itself on what happened to me personally, but I think it's a good time since I'm already here to let everyone in the city know what's going on. So I'll start at the beginning. I wrote down some dates. I'm trying to remember. January 6th, I signed up for that program through Consumers Energy to make sure that you have the, it's like $6 a month, and they'll pay if there's a problem with your water or your sewer line. I strongly suggest everyone invest in that because it saved me some money. Not all of the money, but at least some money. January 12th, I believe, is when Clausen came through and they did their hydrojetting. January 13th is when I had to have a plumber come out because I had an issue with my toilets. They say it wasn't involved, but it was a weird thing that happened. So I ended up having to pay for that, getting a backup, weird stuff going through the lines. Monday, February 16th, we all know that that's when the snow melted, and I started to get backup in my basement, water just coming up through the drain. February 18th is when I had the same plumber company come out, and they said, there's a break in your line. We can't fix that. It's under the street. I called the city, and the city told me, which everyone should know this too, is that if there's a problem, you are responsible to including the tap into the city line. It includes the tap. And I said, but the problem is under the street. They said, that's not our problem. You are in charge to including the tap. It's a very important part. So February 20th, because I bought the policy, I actually got the plumber with the policy to come out and take a look at it. And again, he said, there's definitely an issue, but we're gonna work it out, blah, blah, blah. Keep in mind at this point, I'm not able to take a shower, not able to do laundry, not able to run the dishwasher, period. That would just flood the basement. We were basically using the bathroom and then flushing it once a day because it would come back up into the basement. This lasted, so I got everything situated. The policy would cover $13,000, but I would need to cover the other $8,500 because they said to fix the tap too, because if they fix the line and we don't fix the tap, there's going to be a new tap. It's going to be an issue later on, and then I have to cover everything. It's $21,000, over $21,000 I would have to do. I know I'm going to run out of time. Monday, March 2nd is when they actually started the work, and when they opened up the street, there was an issue. The issue was no one can claim where the pipe came from, and I'll send the pictures to you. From my line going into my tap was disconnected from the city line completely because a third-party pipe, had fallen down onto my sewer line. And the plumber was like, well, lucky for you, there's another issue in your line, and I can have them cover that $13,000, because if it was just for the third party, that would have null and void my entire policy. So I would have had to cover the $21,000. Now, city came out, Consumers Energy came out, no one wants to claim who the pipe is. They claim it's Consumers Energy. Consumers Energy measured it, they say it's not theirs. It's certainly not my pipe. I didn't do that. Can I have one more minute, please?
Unfortunately, I can't do that so please send us an email with all of your information.
I'll send
I'm sorry.
all the pictures too.
Thank you. Sorry. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to items not on the agenda?
Kathleen Terrell, resident. At some point, I'll be comfortable talking up here, but public speaking is not my strong suit, so bear with me. A quote from Robert H. Jackson, Supreme Court Justice, 1943. If there is any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it is that no official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in politics, nationalism, religion, or other matters of opinion, or force citizens to confess by word or act their faith therein. If there are any circumstances which permit an exception, they do not occur to us now. James Arthur Baldwin, an American writer and civil rights activist, famous for 1953, Go Tell It on the Mountain. This quote is from 1965. It comes with great shock to discover that the flag to which you have pledged allegiance does not pledge allegiance to you. Both these quotes represent power voices in different ways. Robert H. Jackson saw that we cannot mandatorily indoctrinate the words of the pledge and what used to be a salute to the flag. To enforce those rights today is not to choose weak government over strong government. It is to adhere as means of strength to individual freedom of mind in preference to the officially disciplined uniformity for which history indicates is disappointing and disastrous end. James Baldwin recognized the realization that loyalty is often one-sided, where marginalized communities are asked to pledge to a country that does not protect them. The quote highlights that the American promise is not consistently applied, as seen in schools, labor, and policing. A quick personal story. Bear with me. I grew up with a dad who was my best friend. He always preached family and community are the most important. He never missed an opportunity to voice it or to show an example by it. When my father unexpectedly passed away, Councilwoman Rinkovich, who I had not yet known, sent beautiful flowers to each of the women in my family. Again, I didn't know her, but I remember holding my newborn baby, deep in grief, looking at beautiful bouquet of flowers. I did my best to keep them alive for weeks. She brought beauty and growth to me in my darkest hours and reminded me to look for the beauty, and it'll be there. She showed me something my father always did, and that's community that always shows up. Councilwoman, I'm proud of you. And council, I'm proud that you all sit on the dais. I look forward to a bright Clawson future. Thank you.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Would anyone else like to speak to items not on the agenda?
Good evening, Council, and I'm also proud of you for sitting on the dais. I'm a man of faith, and I'm proud of that, too. My Jewish faith commands me to think critically, so I've been thinking about what I've witnessed tonight. Some of our brothers and sisters here this evening claim there's a war on God. I believe they're right, and I've been thinking about how to stop that war because we can do that right here in Clawson. If we're going to stop going to war with God, then we should start by making peace with his people, by treating them with respect, dignity, and kindness. People who have threatened and disrespected Councilwoman Rinkovich are perpetuating that war on God's people. People who deny that multiple religions and people with no religion at all exist in Clawson, and who support government-sponsored prayer being imposed on others are perpetuating that war on God's people. Just because someone doesn't agree with you does not make them any less one of God's people. We are all God's people. We are all Americans, and without dissent, we risk becoming a country that speaks of a higher power but does not truly honor it. I'm not attacking tradition or faith. I'm defending them. Indeed, faith is strongest, and choices are good when they're chosen freely, not when they're led by the government. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak to items not on the agenda? All right, seeing no one else moving, I will close public comment and we'll move to the city clerk's report.
No report tonight.
Okay. City attorney's report.
No further report tonight.
Thank you. City manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Construction update. Again, Elmwood, remediation of any crack or defects along with easement restoration will be completed this spring. Transitioning to Rochester Road, the tying in of the new pipes to the existing water distribution as well as the residential water supplies is complete. Reminder, this project is a new pipe and upgrade from a 6-inch to an 8-inch in conjunction with the road diet resurfacing that will occur this spring, after which all restoration will be completed. DPW and AEW have held a pre-construction meeting with Royal Oak, and we are anticipating a mid-April start date for the road diet portion of this project. Communication and coordination will remain ongoing with the City of Royal Oak, and we will continue to share future construction updates regarding the next phase of this project as it become available. The Chocolate, Gooddale, and Leroy water main replacement project is out for bid, and I anticipate a contract award to be before council either at the last meeting in April or the first meeting in May. The Clawson Parks and Recreation Senior Services Survey will remain active until March 24th. Please consider taking the survey, which is located on the city website under City News. So far, we have 665 participants. This is your chance to provide your feedback and input on the city park master plan and the City Hunter Center. And the Hunter Community Center. We need your input to design spaces that best meet the Clawson community needs. Pending any questions, that's my report.
Not a question, but a public statement. We have a meeting on Thursday at 6 o'clock in the
Community room.
community room.
That's goals and objectives with Vitrino Consulting.
Yep, and that's open to public comment, as usual. All right, cool. All right. Light at the end of the tunnel, guys. Next item on the agenda is city council comments. I'm going to start with Councilmember Peltonen.
Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Councilmember Rinkovich.
I really don't have anything tonight. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke.
Yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day. We also, some of the council went to a Capitol Conference in Lansing, learned a lot, brought some tools back with us, collaborated with our neighbors, the leaders in our neighboring cities, and it was a great time and a great way to meet some of our reps too, so that was a great time. But yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day, and yeah.
Councilmember Slawinski.
Yeah, so we did go to the CapCon. I wanted everybody to know that there are some presentations that we have that are available to us that we can share if anybody is interested. One thing I wanted to talk to Nick about was there's a system called Luca, and I'm saying this just because I don't want to forget to tell you later. But it's regarding the census in 2030, and they had a lot of really good ideas, but the one thing, and I have paperwork too and a presentation I can share with you if you would like, but basically they were talking about making sure that if we have new builds, that everybody in those new builds are accounted for. And this system is not easily, but it's updatable, and you can do it. They have a plan, and that's what they shared with us. So I wanted to share that. But yeah, that was a good time. We learned a lot, and that's all I had. I do have a question for the city attorney. Are you willing to take a question?
Sure.
Okay. So Section 4.13 in our charter. And I can send it over if you, I can just send it right now, if you can take that. But this is, yeah. Sorry, here it comes. Okay, so I want to understand if I have a question for a department head, if I'm trying to answer a resident's question, do I have to rope the city manager in, or can I just answer their question? That's what I want to understand from that 4.13.
Are you talking about just a resident of the city?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
The sarcastic person in me wants to sing the theme from Jeopardy right now. I want to say that I'm not going to do that.
So you're asking if you can respond to a...
Can I respond to, if I have to contact a department head from the city, and because I'm trying to answer a question from one of the residents?
Okay.
Am I allowed to do that without contacting the city manager?
You can't give orders.
Correct. If I'm just giving them the
directions to
information they're looking for, but I have to go to a department head to ask them for the information, there's nothing wrong with that, correct?
If you are communicating with them in an effort to respond to a constituent request.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. And that concludes what I am asking.
Okay.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Councilmember Spishak.
Yeah, echoing both Laura, Meredith, Hayden, Heather, we all had a great time at CapCon. Learned a lot and look forward to continuing education. Another thing, we had all talked about and learned at CapCon was the Elected Officials Academy. So I'd like to discuss that in the future because that's going on in May. And then happy St. Patrick's Day. That's all I got.
Councilmember Tinlin.
Well, I've got just a short one. So I just want to thank all the Clawson Middle School Bella Field Trip students for all the nice letters. They got to see the outsiders, and the CYA board and Penny Lube, our Oakland County Commissioner, got involved to help with their funding gap. Busing is a lot more expensive than it has in the past, so I really appreciate all the nice letters they sent to the board of Clawson Youth Alliance.
Very nice. All right, that leaves me. I want to start with thanking everyone who came out today. I think keeping the lines of communication and everyone speaking and talking about what they're thinking and feeling is incredibly important. We're not all going to ever agree on everything, but us having different viewpoints is part of what makes this country great. So I appreciate everyone coming out and speaking and taking the time to be with us. I also thought it was worthwhile to clarify that no one on council reports to the mayor. I have no authority over anyone on council. I can't direct them or order them, or they do not report to me. They all report to the community. And so I just thought it was valuable to put that out to the community to let them know that these council members do not report to me. They report to the community, and their issues are between them and their constituents. And I finally I don't want to dignify the comment, but I want to address the accusations leveled by someone during comments for items not on the agenda. My support of Clawson Fest is nothing other than having been able to participate in it. I was street security because I'm big and tough, and I talked to a lot of people, and I saw, aside from just being someone visiting Clawson Fest and buying stuff, I saw the impact that that event made on the people that came and the people that saw Clawson, and that's why I believe in it. It has nothing to do, no one, you can take a look at my campaign finance records. No one gave me any money, maybe some moral support, but aside from that, there is absolutely no quid pro quo, if I can even say it, afoot here. And I think that maybe people should look in the mirror and see the other side of the coin that might be afoot there. Aside from that, happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. That's all I got. I would love a motion to adjourn.
Madam Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Let's have a roll call.
Councilmember Spishak?
Yes.
Councilmember Tinlin?
Yes.
Mayor Moffett?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem O'Rourke?
Yes.
Councilmember Peltman?
Yes.
Councilmember Rinkovich?
Yes.
Councilmember Slawinski?
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for coming.